They fined me $750 for a rain barrel. Yeah, a rain barrel, and taped the violation right on my little girl's swing set like it was a public shaming. That was the morning I realized the folks running the homeowners association out here weren't protecting property values, they were playing God. My name's Daniel Reed. I'm a civil engineer by trade, but mostly I'm a dad trying to keep an old ranch alive outside of Jasper County, Texas. 11 acres of red dirt mesquite trees and a windmill that still creaks when the weather shifts. My wife passed 2 years ago, and since then, it's just been me and my daughter Emily, 8 years old, all sunshine and sass. She calls the cows her secret keepers. I guess in her world, animals don't judge. When that first fine showed up, I figured it was a misunderstanding. I drove down to the HOA office with my coffee still hot in a travel mug, thinking we'd clear it up in 5 minutes. Instead, I met her Margot Daniels, HOA president, sharp as vinegar and twice as sour. She stepped out of her white SUV wearing a linen blazer that probably cost more than my whole feed order for the month. Clipboard in hand, smile like a sermon. "We can't have your property looking rustic anymore, Mr. Reed," she said. "It brings down the tone of the development." I told her that fence she called rustic was built by my grandfather in 1964, back when this land was just land, not a brochure. She handed me a 300-page binder labeled Updated Aesthetic Standards and said, "Modernization is progress." I told her progress doesn't need a dress code. A week later, another notice. Unauthorized livestock enclosure. Fine $500 plus $50 a day until corrected. I walked out with my tape measure, checked the setback myself, 42 feet on the nose, perfectly within county code. Sent them the survey, triple signed. They ignored it. That night, after putting Emily to bed, I sat at the kitchen table with cold coffee and a stack of old deeds, flipping pages till the paper edges turned gray. Buried in the paperwork, I found something, a livestock watering easement dated 1962. My grandfather's signature still clear as day. That meant the water line running under the HOA's new community pond wasn't theirs. It was mine. Now I didn't jump the gun. You don't fight arrogance with anger. You fight it with patience. I called my buddy Walt, a county appraiser who quotes Texas law like it's gospel. He looked over the plats and whistled. "Danny, they built that clubhouse right over your water line. If that easement's active, they owe you compensation or access." That changed everything. I wasn't trespassing on their system, they were trespassing on mine. Still, I stayed quiet. You can't play your winning card till you've let the other side hang enough rope. By month's end, the HOA had sent 3 more notices, each dumber than the last. One said my mailbox was the wrong shade of brown. Another accused me of non-cooperation. The third was a gem visual disruption due to livestock presence. I guess cows offend her sense of suburbia. Then came the sheriff. Deputy Holloway, good man, looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. "Just a compliance check," he said, tipping his hat. "Ain't my kind of law, though." I thanked him anyway. You learn who's human and who's hiding behind paper. That night I started a red binder labeled Evidence of HOA Retaliation. Every photo, every timestamp, every note. When they called me feral on the community forum, I printed the thread. When they blocked Emily's school bus at the gate because my dues were under review, something in me clicked. Grief turned into focus. I wasn't just defending dirt anymore. I was defending dignity. Then fate sent me a friend in an unexpected place, Carl, the HOA's maintenance foreman. I found him one morning unlocking the gate to the clubhouse, offered him coffee, and just listened. People tell the truth when they don't feel cornered. He told me the board had rerouted water from my line to fill their ornamental pond temporary, he said. But it had been 2 years. That was theft, plain and simple. I took photos of the junction valve, emailed them to myself for timestamp proof. My attorney Denise, a whip-smart woman with a voice calm enough to cut glass, looked at my binder and smiled. You've got them by the code Danny, but let them stack their mistakes first. Every fine strengthens your counterclaim. So that's what I did. I waited. At the next board meeting, Margot stood up front, voice dripping sugar. Mr. Reed owes $3,200 in unpaid violations. Further non-compliance may result in a lien. I raised my hand as polite as Sunday church. Under Texas Property Code 29006, you have to offer an opportunity to cure before recording a lien. You skip that step. Her smile twitched. Maybe this community isn't the right fit for you. That was it, the line I needed. Discrimination on record. I jotted the time down, audio, minute 14:32. Next morning, I filed an official complaint with the county ombudsman attaching every document. Once that's filed by law, an HOA under review can't enforce contested fines. They didn't know that or didn't care. A week later, another notice, unauthorized structure chicken coop. I don't even own chickens. My buddy Walt laughed, said, "They're baiting you. Stay calm. Let them drown themselves in paperwork." A few weeks later, a county water inspector showed up, clipboard balanced on his knee. Got a complaint about an unpermitted tap, he said. I pointed him behind the clubhouse. 2 days later, he came back with a letter, violation of county water code. $10,000 per day fine addressed to the HOA. I didn't even have to say thank you. Carl must have filed it himself. Good man. From there, the dominoes started falling. I recorded my grandfather's easement again under current law just to restart the notice period. Reasserted ownership. The HOA tried to raise dues illegally to cover their fine. 93 households, 31 votes, no quorum. I downloaded the minutes before they could edit them. When the county finished its investigation, their report read, "Pattern of selective enforcement." That's bureaucrats speak for, "You're cooked." By the time June rolled around, the HOA was cracking at the seams. Trucks blocked my driveway for inspection. Margot screamed through my gate about community spirit. I told her spirit doesn't override deeds. She didn't like that. My lawyer said, "Patience, Danny. They're about to implode." And she was right. At the next public meeting, Margot stood behind the projector talking about financial transparency. I waited till she said no irregularities found. Then I stood up. Actually, I said there's a $12,480 payment labeled landscaping that matches the county's fine for the illegal water tap. Care to explain that? Murmurs rippled through the crowd. And right then, the door opened. Inspector Howard Khakis badge lanyard. "Evening, folks. Here to verify public records for the complaint follow-up." You could hear a pin drop. He confirmed everything. Margot's smile froze, eyes darting like a trapped fox. I walked to the front table, laid down my recorded easement. "This HOA has been drawing from a private line," I said. "As of last month, it's re-registered under my name." Silence. Then Howard said, "He's right. HOA will need a new permit or a compensation agreement." That was it. The reversal. Residents started clapping, soft at first, then louder. Margot sputtered something about resolving neighborly, and I said neighborly ended when you taped a fine to my daughter's swing set. That one landed. By the next morning, half the board had resigned. Their insurer froze the policy. The HOA website went under maintenance. And for the first time in months, I slept through the night. But I wasn't after revenge. Revenge burns fast and leaves ash. What I wanted was reform. I spent the next week writing something I called the Ridgeview Charter Term Limits for board members' quarterly budget reports, open meetings, and an independent ethics committee made of regular folks. I offered them one deal: they could keep using my water line if they signed the charter into effect. They voted 36-2. And just like that, a war turned into a blueprint for fairness. That's what I mean when I say sometimes justice doesn't roar, it just files stamps and waits its turn. These days, the pond they stole water for, it's a learning site for local kids. The HOA office reopened as a community center. Margot moved to Arizona last I heard. I don't wish her harm, just humility. Emily painted a new sign for our fence. Welcome to Ridgeview Ranch, where neighbors learn. I left it up even though it's 2 inches taller than the old regulation allowed. You know, when I sit on the porch now and listen to the windmill creak, I think about all the folks who can't afford lawyers, who just want peace on their own land. The law isn't supposed to cage us, it's supposed to keep us from being caged by others. So if you're watching this, tell me, when does a homeowners association stop protecting and start controlling? When does community pride turn into power abuse? Drop your thoughts in the comments because these stories don't end in court. They end when good people start paying attention. And if you believe in standing your ground the right way, hit subscribe. I've got plenty more true to code tales coming straight from the dust and paper trail of the American dream.